So I think this journey started almost 3 years back. We, as four of us, being male founders, had a tough time to figure out how the consumer is changing in India, especially women. And I think thanks to four of us, the amount of time we spent going on the ground, talking to a lot of consumers was very insightful. We realized very early that India's new generation, or we call them Gen Z, is about seeing something and getting it instantly, and that's what you see with the quick commerce also now. So fashion has to be disrupted there, and disruption can only happen when you solve fundamental things, be it the design level, be it the supply chain level, and be it the price point level. Because this consumer is still just in colleges or doing their first, second job. And that time capital is not very accessible to them. So for them, they want to be aspirational, but they also want to have affordable brands there. So if a brand only preys on price, then you will get killed sometime, because someone will come and start burning more money and will play on price. But moment you are playing on aspirational is where the game changes. I think at Newme, thanks to my team, we were able to build that brand from day one. Thanks to some of our mentors who kept us grounded at that this brand has to be always about aspiration. The kind of Instagram we have built, I feel it's the most powerful tool that can create a lot of rage in our stores today. If we put a small post on Instagram about something, I'm sure next day our stores get flooded with the kind of consumers. And that's the power of social media today. The spot on trend is very important for us. People who see something, they want it next day. They are not days where fashion used to be like 6 7 months old in India. If you look at traditional players, they're struggling there today, because traditional cycles have been about 6 months launches, whereas to launch designs every single week, like we feel very very proud about launching designs every single week, and looking at data then to figure out what's the hero, what's the non-hero, and scaling design change. So I think those are things that changes the consumers today. And I think Gen Z, being a very very digital native consumer class, exposed to internet so early in their life, they see it every single day. Their life spends goes on Instagram, social media channels. So the brands who are not playing that game will become obsolete. So I think that's been our secret sauce.
There are a couple of fundamental understandings that we have on Gen Z, or we believe that we have on Gen Z, right? And that's what we try to imbibe. I'll give you some examples. Some traits that are very, very core to Gen Z are, for example, they are extremely switched on, extremely exposed, right? And Sumit also mentioned about it, but let me give you an anecdote. One of the listed footwear brands in India, incumbent domestic footwear brands, obviously I won't take the name, but I was talking to a very senior planner there, and I was checking with him that, how do you come up with designs and what is your thought process on cataloging, etc. He said that, look, we launch something in tier one metro market or a mall, then we take it to a tier two in 1 year, then we take it to a tier three, and then wholesale and whatnot, because the same trend will go to the wholesale market in the next 3 years. I'm like, dude, that is not how it happens anymore, right? So I think that is a fundamental thought process shift that we have in Solethreads, right? And then everything naturally follows. But honestly, this is just hygiene. Being ahead of its curve in terms of design, aesthetics, trends, etc., is something that is a qualifier for brands like us. It is not a winning formulation for brands like us. Because then if you further try and understand Gen Z, they are also very aspirational. They're ready to give you premium, right? And finally, new age brands are also all about premiumization, right? Like he said, we're not about pricing. So the kind of brand experience, the kind of product experience that you might want to give them has to be class apart, right? Whenever they interact with your brand, whenever they walk into your store, whenever they walk into your Insta, whenever they send you a complaint, right? For example, I'll give you a very small example, but one of the sections on our website is abuse us. That's a section. As you're running a D2C show, you will get complaints, things will get messed up, right? But the section is called abusers, because we want to relate with them. ठीक है यार, you are frustrated, गाली दे दो. It's okay. But that is how they connect with us. And then this is what gives you an edge. But finally, the third step would be, establishing a brand. You have to connect with them at an emotional level. And these people, for example, you can't just sign up a Bollywood celeb. You can't do that. Bollywood guys can't even carry their own weight right now, right? Leave alone carry the load of your brand. It's all about self-expression. If your brand can solve self-expression for them, especially in fashion, which has, where you're building things like flaunt value, where you're building things like show off, etc. also. But if there is some amount of individuality to your brand and you can solve for this individual to self-express using your fashion product, then you've cracked it. You cracked the code. So these are some fundamental things that we follow.